Acting Transport Minister Chee says arranging to use cleaner fuel could raise costs for airlines and passengers, but he points out that it's untenable if more sustainable ways to operate aren't sought out. Mr. Chee also urges air travel players in the Asia-Pacific to do more to boost the production and usage of sustainable air fuel, otherwise known as SAF. He was speaking to industry players and air travel authorities from the region at a conference. He says that there needs to be a strong and credible demand signal so that fuel producers are more confident in investing in SAF production. He cites examples of how some countries have introduced subsidies or imposed mandates. Mr. Chee adds that the region will have to consider what works best for it, given its operating context.
Singapore is now doing a very careful study on the trade-offs and weighing the pros and cons of various approaches before we announce our strategy to encourage SAF adoption. Now, this is no different from our overall climate change commitments. We want to set a pragmatic yet meaningful target, and once we commit to a target, we will do our very best to meet it.
More than a dozen Asia-Pacific airlines are aiming for 5% sustainable aviation fuel usage by 2030. The pledge comes amid a strong air recovery in the region. The Association of Asia-Pacific Airlines says sufficient use of such fuel will significantly green the aviation sector. Its Director General says they need the support of governments and fuel suppliers to achieve the goal. He adds airlines must also be held accountable for their emission reductions.
We need to put in place an advocacy program, to speak with the stakeholders. It's not only fuel suppliers and governments, but also airports, other industry organizations, aircraft manufacturers. We need to speak to all the stakeholders. We need to speak with ICAO. We need to speak with IATA, definitely.
The AAPA also wants to improve aviation safety by providing more training for airport staff, especially in regions where weather can pose a real challenge. It's also calling on governments to consider the impact of new regulations on airline operating costs and flight schedules.